How's it going, everyone? This is E-Man from TCGWise123, and today I'm bringing you guys another deck profile that I took to locals on Sunday. And I apologize if I sound tired, because that most likely means that I am tired. But let's get on with the deck profile. So we'll start off with the water section. We got 3 Refi, 3 Seneschals, 2 Time Rhyme, 2 Rusalkas, 1 Crystal Memory, and 1 Hazard Crawler. Moving on with the multi-civs, we got 2 Grip of Despairs for Water Dark, and for Darkness we got 1 Gloom Hollow, 2 Toxic Fog, 3 Bone Blades, 3 Terror Pits, 1 Skull Shatter. That's all the dark. For Dark Fire we got 1 Shade Blazer Corruptor. With Fire we got 1 Taturion, 1 General Sky Crusher, 1 Morna, 1 Spellbane, 2 Boattail Dragons, 1 Billion Degree, and 2 Awaken to finalize the fire section. And multi-civs for Fire Nature, we got 1 Gorium the Striker. And last but not least, for Nature, we got 3 Sprouts, 3 Reaping Cells, 3 Deepwood Druid, and 2 Root Traps. So that's the whole deck, and I'll start explaining the water section. For refis, where to start? The blockers, they should be adjusted according to your locals, and so refi is was always a nice blocker to begin with. You know, it stops early aggression. 3000 body is nice. Of course, the drawback is that it can't revenge kill anything, but it's a nice chump blocker regardless. 3 Seneschals, like, I just rather prefer Seneschal than logo scans right now, because I just absolutely, I really dislike giving my opponents a +1 every time I would play logo scans when they have laws on the field. So I rather just play the Seneschal. So that's why I added on here. But I might change it back to logo scans, just because it's always a guaranteed +1 for you. So yeah, 2 Time Rhyme. What inspired me to play this card was I saw this card on a picture on the dojo of one of the R&D members using this card, and like it looked like this card because it was blue, and like it had like some of those like shells in the background, and so it looked like Time Rhyme, and I wanted to test the card out, and it's really awesome. It, like, if you don't have access to Lyra, this is your best option. If you don't have access to Lyra's, Time Rhyme is a really cool card, and it really like helps you out with your plays to go for game next turn. It's really an underrated card, and should definitely be considered when putting it into your deck, especially when you're running water. Like, you just have to test it out. It's pretty cool. 2 Rusalkas again. Bounce is always nice, especially in creature form, especially when you get the progression of turn 3 Seneschal, turn 4 Rusalka, and you just like draw from there. Like, I've always loved that combo, and I've been wanting it to bring it back. So that was another reason why I added those 2 cards. The 1 Crystal Memory is this is not a heavy control deck, so only 1 is needed. It's just nice to just get like whatever card you need from this deck. Whether you need to push for game, or you need to search for a kill spell, whatever. You can just search for whatever you need either on that turn or any other turn. And last but not least, we got 1 Hazard Crawler. In theory, this card is supposed to be pretty cool. Because the only way to answer to this card is that the opponent has to waste a kill spell. They have to use either Terror Pit, Root Trap, or Tornado Flame. Those are the only spells that hit this card. Any other any other kill spell, like, just won't hit it. Like, basically all the high removal hits him. And the neat thing about him is that your opponent's creatures can't attack or block when this guy tries to go for shields. It's like, in theory, he's supposed to be really cool, but he never did anything for me in my matches. What I've been thinking some cool combos with this guy to make it even more of a threat, where you can put this guy in a light water nature deck, where it goes to like late game aggro-ish with a Starseed Squadron, where you like play a spell and then this guy becomes a 6,000 double breaker like right off the bat. And that's the problem with Hazard Crawler, is that it can't revenge kill anything, but that's not that's not this card's purpose. But it's just something I wanted to try out, and in theory, again, it's supposed to be really cool. So that's the water section. That's 12 water. 2 Grip of Despair is just like really awesome balance, where you can get turn 3 Seneschal, turn 4 Rusalka, and the next turn if the opponent plays Herald, you can like play Grip of Despair on turn 5 and just like keep swinging with Rusalka and Seneschal. So that's that. For Darkness, we got 1 Gloom Hollowed, and just in case if the opponent's ever aggressive, my locals is just like very stale, and yeah, that's all I'm gonna say. It's just stale. 2 Toxic Fog. Again, in theory, this card is supposed to be pretty cool. What inspired me to play this card was it was in Bobby Break's deck, and so that kind of inspired me to play Toxic Fog. But it just went straight into mana, because I had like there was other turns that I wanted to play. But it is really good to like if you don't have your Bone Blades on time or Rusalka, it's just like a really good answer to birds, especially Nyx and Umbra. Sadly, it doesn't get over Lux, but that's why we have Bone Blades to get rid of Luxes or any other level 4 less creature. And Terror Pit, you know, standard removal. And the 1 Skull Shatter. The one of is nice because I see it on the times where it needs to shine. No pun intended. If I draw it in opening hand, then I pretty much have to focus myself on wrapping with nature, which we'll get to later. And for Darkness Fire, we got 1 Shade Blaze. I only have 1, and just an amazing card. I mean, it's pretty much a potential bigger Boltel Dragon. That's pretty much what it is. And the -2000 is really nice, especially when you combine it with Morna. When you have Morna on the field, what you can do is you can play Shade Blaze, and if you have like enough mana, you can also do Toxic Fog, and then you can get over Andromeda with Morna, which is really nice. But that's in theory, but it never happened. But it's a possibility. So with Fire, we got 1 Tatsurion, and didn't do anything for me other than providing fire mana for me. I just figured it was like if people were playing like an aggro deck, like this was like a good revenge killer for it. But I always like face a lot of control decks, so yeah, just trying to make out different decks. And the 1 General Sky Crusher is like, it's always nice. Again, especially with when you have Morna on the field, and then you play then you follow it up with General Sky Crusher, and you can just like attack over any creature that's less than 10,000 power, 10,000 or less. And then and again, if you have enough mana, you can do General Sky Crusher and then Toxic Fog on whatever creature while you have Morna on the field, and it just gets like nuts over there. Which is why I added Morna in here, you know, just because like it's nice to run over creatures, especially Keeper of Laws, because it's always a troublesome card to get around it. Even though this deck doesn't run a lot of spells, it's more creature based, but this deck does have a decent amount of spells. It's just nice to run over creatures, and again, and like it gets around laws, so that's nice. The one Spellbane Dragon, it's a really good counter against control because they like to use a lot of spells. So when you play this card against them, it's just a powerhouse. You'll see their shields like start disintegrating before your eyes. So I've always liked Spellbane in the beginning, and it's a nice tech. And so again, adjust it to your locals. If you face like a bunch of control decks, then you really want to bump this up to 2, if not even 3. Like I've used this in 3 with just pure Water Dark Fire. Like during the DSI meta, it's just been absolutely amazing. And the 2 Bolt Tail Dragons is just nice to have a fast attacker again, and Billion Degree does the same, has the same purpose, except it has more utility by attacking over creatures on the turn enters the battle zone. So it's always nice to have a variance for it. And last but not least, we got 2 Awaken, because you can ramp up to it pretty quickly and just like shut down a couple decks completely. It's just like, it's always nice. And for the Fire Nature, we got 1 Gorion the Striker. It's a nice tech, but since I'm running cards like Sprout, this is like an Sprout is an anti tech card, because like the dangers of playing Sprout is that you can have your tech cards into your mana zone. So it's always a risk, and there's a high probability that your techs are gonna land into mana, but it is what it is. Speaking of Sprout, I play 3, and I don't have 3 promos, sadly, so that's that. Again, early ramp. Speaking of ramp, we got these other 2 cards. 3 Reaping Souls is just amazing on turn 4. Turn 2 Sprout, turn 3 Reaping Soul, turn 4 Deepwood Druid, and like on your next turn you have like 7 mana. You can drop your Morna, your Spellbane, and you can and following that up with the Skull Shatter, you get minuses on your opponent. It's just really nice. I like this progression a lot. Reason why I picked Deepwood Druid is because, one, it doesn't get hit by cheap removal other than Heat Seekers. But let's be honest, how many people are using Heat Seekers now? But however, birds are starting to become popular again, so Heat Seekers might become a thing now. But before, not a lot of people play Heat Seekers, at least from what I've seen. Like hardly anyone plays Heat Seekers, so Deepwood dodges that. Whereas Bronzon Tribe, he gets hit by Bone Blades and all like the cheap removal, and it allows me to have like a wider curve. So you got 2, 4, 5. So it's a nice. I like it a lot. The 2000 is nice because you can like you can trade with other cheap creatures such as a Seneschal. So it's nice. And then the last 2 natures, Root Trap. And again, that just brings me up a total of 5 removal. If I added in another Root Trap, it would just be way too many level 7 drops, which I didn't really want. So yeah, so again, it's 12 water, 2 water dark, 10 darkness, 1 dark fire, 9 fire, 1 fire nature, and 11 nature. So surprisingly, water is the biggest section, followed up by the nature by just 1 card, and then darkness at 10, and then fire at 9. So that's the whole deck. Let me know what you guys think. Hopefully I've widened your perception of cards to choose from, such as a Hazard Crawler. I definitely want to keep testing this card, and like in theory, like, it sounds pretty cool, and so I want to continue playtesting that card. And also Deepwood Druid. Like, I've been starting to like this card a lot more. And what sort of inspired me to run like a big nature section was, I remember someone posting up a Duel Masters match on the dojo group, and they were using a lot of ramp. And although we are limited to our card pool right now in Duel Masters, like, they were doing some like ridiculous play with ramp, and like, what did they do? Like, they added cards from their mana zone back to their deck or something like that. It was just like absolutely insane, and I'm really looking forward to Shatter Alliance. You know, it's gonna bring out like a few new deck possibilities. So again, let me know what you guys think. Comment, rate, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Take care.